I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter, and I want to talk right now about overcoming prospecting obstacles. I'm going to walk you through the 10 prospecting obstacles that really you have to overcome if you want to be successful. I do hope you hit subscribe. I do hope you hit like. And hey, leave me a comment. I did write the book, A Mind for Sales. Let's get into the 10. Number one is get focused. You have to be focused in totally believing that what you're doing from a prospecting standpoint is making a difference. Too many times what happens is people sit there and, well, I know I need to prospect, but I never get around to doing it. Unless you are absolutely focused and committed to it, it is amazing how it won't happen. I'm going to build on this as we continue to move through the list. Number two, know your outcome. Know your outcome. What I want you to do is I want you to take all of your existing customers and I want you to write down the outcome. What is the outcome that you help them achieve? That's what you zero in on. That's what you're committed to. That's what you are focused in on in terms of helping. It's not what you sell. It's the outcome you create. When you are focused in on the outcome you create, it is amazing how much more focused you'll be. You see, I keep coming back to number one. Number three is identify your ICP. When you wrote down your list of customers, you're probably going to see some commonalities. You see, the tighter your ICP, ideal customer profile, the more successful you'll be. Because what you're going to do is you're now going to be spending your time on those customers who have the greatest potential to buy from you. It is not about sitting there just making phone calls. It is not about, well, gee, that person has a heart. I don't care if they have a heartbeat. If they're not focused against the ideal customer profile, I don't want to waste my time with them. This is especially painful from a lead generation standpoint. Just because somebody downloads an ebook, somebody responds, does not mean they are worthy of your time. Your time is incredibly valuable. Your time is your most valuable asset that you have. And you have to understand that. So you can only spend time targeting the ideal customer profile. What does this look like? This is, where do they work? What do they do? What industry are they in? What geography are they in? What size of company are they? As many different parameters as possible. And you're putting all these together to create that ideal customer profile. Now, will anybody ever match up 100%? No, they won't. But your goal is to get as close to that as possible. Because when you spend your time with the best people, it is amazing how you'll have a much higher probability of closing. Number four, clarify the message. Clarify the message. You have to make sure that what you are sharing with them is meaningful to them. You have to make sure that it's point spot on. How do you get point spot on? It's by making the messaging fit the outcome. You see, again, it's not what you sell. It's about the outcome. The outcome. You have to be raising questions. You have to be sharing information that gets that person thinking about the outcome. That's how you clarify the message. Number five, it's not about you. Now, I put this right after clarify the message because so many times what happens is people sit there and they share all this information about how wonderful they are. It's totally irrelevant how wonderful you are. The customer doesn't care. The customer does not care. The customer is a problem. The customer, you have to be focused on them. You have to be focused on them. It's not about you. They don't care that you were salesperson of the year. They don't care how many years you've been in business. They don't care about all that. If they want to know that, they'll go out to the internet. You have to engage them in conversation that is relevant to their critical needs. Number six, multiple channels. You can't sit there and say, well, I'm just going to email them. I'm going to email them. I'm going to email them. I'm going to email. Oh, they never responded, so they must not be interested. How do you even know if they got your email? Don't tell me you use an email tracking tool. I've gone down that path. You can go down that path if you want. You have to be able to reach out to your prospect and be using multiple channels. It may be email. It may be text messaging. It might be video. It might be any number of different, even direct mail. It might be social media. You have to be using multiple channels because what works for you may not be the primary communication channel used by your customer. Example, I like email, but I have any number of people that I can only reach by way of social media, or I can only reach by way of text messaging. You have to be able to reach people on their primary means. And what does this mean? You've got to, number 7, build a cadence. Building a cadence is going to keep you in line. It's going to keep you going. One of the big challenges that people have is they throw a few things out and it doesn't work and then they move on to something else. Or they give up partway through. You have to build a cadence and stick to it. What is a cadence? A cadence is the number of steps. And it might be 15, it might be 20 steps. And it might be steps broken down that step 1 is an email, step 2 is a phone call, step 3 is a text message, step 4, and you're going to, and each message that you give, that you give has different value, but you have to build a cadence, which takes me to number 8. Repeat, repeat, repeat. You may have built out this 15-step cadence, but what happens is you're 3-4 steps into it, I didn't get any response, so then you give up. The most powerful words in sales and prospecting are found on a bottle of shampoo. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. You have to be doing that time and time again if you want to find yourself to be successful. Number 9, commitment of time. Commitment of time. What does this mean? You have to set aside dedicated times to prospect. I even have to. Even in my job, I have to set dedicated times to prospect. Otherwise, what happens is other things come up. Because prospecting is not exactly something we want to do. It's not exactly the most fun thing to do. Because, man, it can be pain-filled, hearing no's. And if I don't set aside time to prospect, I won't prospect. So you literally set aside a prospecting hour, a prospecting block, prospecting day, however it is that you break it down, but you must do that. And number 10, you've got to have the right mindset. You see how I loop back from number 1 to number 10? Yes, it's the right mindset. What is the right mindset? The right mindset is knowing you can make a difference. Knowing you can make a difference, and therefore you know it's your responsibility to reach out and talk to that person. You know it's your responsibility to contact them. You know you can help them because of the outcome list that you've created. You know you can help them because of the ICP you created. You know you can help them because you've been successful. You know you can help them because of conversations you've had with them. You see, the right mindset. What happens, and the reason so many salespeople struggle in sales, and the reason there's so much turnover in sales is because they fail to embrace the prospecting process. Because what they just want to do is close deals. You will never have more to close than what you start prospecting. When people come to me and they say, Mark, I'm not closing enough deals, I'll sit there and I'll say, hey, how much time are you spending prospecting? The amount of time you spend prospecting is going to have a direct correlation to the amount of time you spend closing. These are all things that I talk about in my book, A Mind for Sales. I do want you to check it out. I do want you to read it because you know what? Prospecting is the start of where things happen when it comes to sales. And when you're successful prospecting, you'll be successful as a salesperson. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. I did write the book, A Mind for Sales, and I do hope you pick it up, read it, and leave a review. Great selling.